लगा के मिट्टी का तू बाजी आज लगा ले, ओ तिलक लगा के मिट्टी का तू बाजी आज लगा ले, तुझ में जो चिंगारी है उस शोला आज बना ले। जान लगा के खेल खिलाड़ी, ओ जान लगा के खेल खिलाड़ी, साथ हमेशा स्पोर्ट्स इंडी, शान बढ़ा तू रहे अगाड़ी, जीत की भाषा स्पोर्ट्स इंडी। स्पोर्ट्स इंडी, स्पोर्ट्स इंडी, स्पोर्ट्स इंडी, स्पोर्ट्स इंडी, स्पोर्ट्स इंडी, स्पोर्ट्स इंडी, स्पोर्ट्स इंडी।
Yes, very good evening. I guess I'm audible at the moment now. This is Vinit Deo welcoming you all on behalf of Sportsindi, the world of sports. Every weekend we get to know some or the other person, to understand the living that they are going through and get to know them personally, their career-wise, how they are shaping it and how they have been through in this journey. Today we have one of our personalities who always gets to know up close and personal with the sports persona. From his write-ups, from his electronic media, he gets to know each and every person. But today, we are going to know about him. A person who has always reached greater heights through this electronic media and print media. We have Niraj Prabhu sir along with us today. So let's welcome him on behalf of Sportsindi and the world of sports. Very good evening, sir.
Good evening to you, Vinit, and thank you very much, Team Sportsindi, to present me this opportunity to have me on the show.
Absolutely. Along with you, we have Supriya ma'am. Please, Supriya ma'am, let's join in for this special occasion for today.
Hello, good evening.
The founder and CEO of Sportsindi, Supriya Badve ma'am.
Thank you, Vinit. And very warm welcome, Mr. Niraj Prabhu, who is to this Sportsindi platform.
Thank you, Supriya ma'am.
Well, Niraj sir, sports journalist,
Yes.
something new. And as in Sportsindi these days, we are talking about the ecosystem. When did you thought of this as a career? When did it started and where it started?
Yes, it's been one memorable journey, and I'm really delighted to inform you that it's the 20th year of my career in sports journalism. So it started way back in January 2002, and it's been amazing, exciting, really, really incredible, I must say. And I have worked across various mediums of the media, whether it's the print media and the digital media way back in 2006. And then I was very stabilized in the electronic media for over 10 years. Now I'm back to digital media with my own web channel, Live News Goa. So overall, this 20-year journey has given me a great amount of thrill, satisfaction, and exposure to provide exposure and promote talents from across various sports disciplines, right from the grassroots level to the international sports stars of I'm basically based in Goa, and I have promoted a lot of Goan talents who have gone on to play for India as well. So it's been one whole package that I have, put my expertise to. And talking about ecosystem, I think it is absolutely important that we look after the ecosystem as an integral part of an industry. Sports is a very big industry, and ecosystem, the strength of the ecosystem is very important for the bright future of the sports industry. So I'm proud to say that I have really looked after this ecosystem to the best of my ability and tried to provide exposure as well as, shape their course of progress or their future by presenting analytical view and providing them the motivation, the encouragement, as well as being critical at times, which is absolutely important to promote a lot of continual improvement amongst the stakeholders of the sports industry. Yeah.
Absolutely. As you said, you found out many athletes, you searched around them, you have written many more about them. You were someone's find for sure. Who was the one who took you to this industry, told you that this is the place that you belong to? Who was that person?
Well, I will tell you my story. It may not be a conventional story at all because, I am a self taught sports journalist. I have not gone through the conventional media degree or diplomas that, students over the last 10 years are very commonly attending media colleges and becoming journalists. But way back 20 years ago in Goa, there was not much awareness of this, the channel or the path towards gaining the degree in the field of media. So it was out of their own uh, interest levels that people chose whatever specialization aspects in the field of media. People who are more interested in current affairs, and they would normally go to a reportage concerning the political coverage, etc., etc. So basically, people who have studied, people who have gone through their graduation degrees in general, and then they like to write about the current affairs, would go through political beats, handle the political beats, joining a media organization. But me, right from my school days, I loved sports. I loved to play various type of sports, as well as I watched them on the television with a very keen ear and a very alert eye. So I would say that I was a, very good student of the game. So I was focused on what the commentators said and how the players executed perhaps those shots. As I was a lot, more interested in cricket, I would be very focused on how the players executed their shots or bowled the delivery, and then what the commentators said. So similarly, I watched all sports on TV. So when I was watching football, I used to keep a close eye on the action as well. Same with hockey and all other sports. Whichever sport was provided good coverage in those days on the Doordarshan network. There was no other satellite television channels. Of course, we would also listen into the commentary on the radio. So I
Radio.
had this on the radio. So I had this interest level, very high interest level for sports. So in school, I used to write sometimes of essays and any write-ups that I would like to do on sports, on the topic of sports. So as I grew up, I also entered the engineering stream, and I did my engineering as well. So back in 2002, I was going through a period of I was at the crossroads. Although I had a job in the engineering sector, but somehow I was not satisfied. And all of a sudden, there was a vacancy in Goa's leading English newspaper, namely the Navhin Times. So I said, okay, let me give a try. So I applied for this job of sports sub-editor cum reporter. And I was selected almost immediately because the editor had asked me to make write a copy, sports copy. What would you put in a concise news format? So what I did, they liked it, and there I was. I was employed as a sports sub editor cum reporter. So I would like to say, I remember what I told the editor at that time before I wrote. So when he asked me, why do you want to, get into this field when you are already a qualified engineer? So I told him, like, right from my school days, I read the newspaper from the back page first, and then just glance to the headlines of the other news. So he was like, okay. And then I said, I believe that sports pages highlight the achievements, and I want to be surrounded by this energy that the achievements bring out. So sports pages is what was my first love. So there I was. I got the job as a sports editor, and it's been a marvelous journey since then.
Most probably it has always been said, why do these people go to engineering when they want to waste that seat and go on to some other career and make a big one over there?
Right, I've heard that as well. Yeah, but then engineering trains your mind as well. So I have used that training that comes from engineering to a very good use in this field of journalism as well. So engineering is not just based or not just focused on the particular subject or the stream. It is also a full training for your mind and how you apply your intelligence in any other sector that your path would take you in the future course.
Absolutely correct. It goes with me too.
Cheers.
But I just want to know, like, journalism is a different part. It plays an important role to shape a society, and when there are some of the other new things coming in very few times, and how do you cope up with that, with the new technology that has been included, or the new aspects of this journalism, what it is called as? So how do you cope up with that?
Well, basically, I have seen now the transition of how journalism, sports journalism, has been going through. With the onset and the influx of social media influence as well. We have had to kind of cater to a lot of new angles that are coming through from social media, and even the sports stars are using their own media, the social media in particular, to break their news themselves. So you have to adapt. I had to adapt to it and encompass whatever new technologies that have come through in my style of working. So whenever there are news that have been broken by the sports stars themselves, you have to get in depth of it and then get the more decision-making processes and give more, focus or put into spotlight the decision-making processes and the business part of it into the reportage as well. Because in the earlier days, this was not there. Now a lot of corporate and sports stars or the players, they are connected, and there's a lot of news that the corporate sector, their public relations agencies, their media officers, they are breaking on their own on their websites or Twitter handles. So I have had to adapt to this, and now it's been fine. So you know now how to tailor yourself to get into this modern day sports journalism. And it was a challenge, but now I have overcome this challenge, and now I am totally in tune with how the new age modern day sports journalism is now going on. in the society. Yes, very important
Absolutely.
aspect though. Yeah.
So true, so true. Supriya ma'am, I want to move on to you. Being with the sports indie concept, being into this world of sports, creating some new opportunities to the people who have always been at the backstage, taking them in front, making the part of that ecosystem. How do you see a sports journalist shaping this ecosystem?
Journalism is just a medium, I think, of propagation of the information at mass level. So I feel it has large and quick impact on the society. And people, most of us always trust media. So I think media play an important role of perception or opinion market. And also sports is one of the main beat of the journalism. Maybe earlier that much focus was not given on sports journalism, because as a sports industry or a sports ecosystem, we were just following one game, that is cricket. So hockey and other games were there, which was been followed by uh, early in 80s, 19 or 6 70s to 90s, 2000. But not much focus was given to other sports. But gradually the things are changing, and now like cricket, other games are getting much importance. Now government has very well focused on developing other sports. Our prime minister is taking efforts uh, to give large opportunities to other sports also. So when a top drive is there to for sports industry, of course now I think sports journalism has much more opportunities since last a decade or what. So I feel ki all happenings in the world of sports now uh, coming to us through this journalism. As Neeraj ji said, that now because of presence of this social media platforms, lot many news or some articles, good articles, inspiration, motivation articles that are coming through, reaching masses through this social media by good writers or maybe through journalism. So I feel yes, sports journalism has big way to play in growth of sports industry, and it is the most trusted and effective media. I think though I mean, electronic media has grown a lot, but yes, print media has itself has a its importance still today. So maybe if considering all segments of media, electronic, then print media, maybe advertisement, if we all focus, I think sports journalism can definitely shape the ecosystem. And yes, that is what is we are aiming at Sports India.
Absolutely. This is the main aim of Sports Indie and the world of sports that we are talking about. But Neeraj sir, I want to move on to you. Who was that
Yeah.
athlete or who was that person who inspired you to write something about him? Who was that sports person?
Vineet, I have written, I have spoken to a lot of sports stars, right from 6-year-old kid to they stabilized or established India players as well. It's been that long, and I have worked, as I said earlier, that I've also worked in the print media and as well as in the electronic media. So I've written and I have interviewed them on TV channel as well. So basically, I would say I have, mainly Goa stars, footballers. Goa has been famous for football, right since the last so many, like over 50 or 60 years. Goa has had a rich heritage of footballers. So out of them, one of the really very best midfielder named Alvito Dicuna. He went on to play for East Bengal as well, and he was one of the best India international midfielders in those days, in early 2000 in 90s. So I enjoyed interviewing him. He was a tremendous player. But then I have also done a lot of coverage for cricket and chess, swimming. So there have been players like Talasha Prabhu, a swimmer. She was one of the fastest swimmers for India around 2010, 11. So she has been really a pleasure to interview, to to get her to talk, and the inspiration she provided in that interview, she was very inspiring. So I also interviewed cricketers like Swapnil Asnodkar, who was amazing for Rajasthan Royals in the first edition of IPL. So he has been a great player, great cricketer Goa produced. Shadab Jakati, one of the very big names and established player for Chennai Super Kings, Goa Ranji Trophy all-rounder. He has also been one of my regular players that I've regularly interviewed. Amazing, hardworking player, thorough professionals. I've also done a write-up or interviewed Dilip Vengsarkar when he was in Goa after his cricketing playing career had come to an end, and I guess, around that time he was a selector or part of a selection committee. I don't clearly remember. So interviewing a legend like Dilip Vengsarkar was amazing. As a kid, I loved him a lot. I mean, I followed him a lot because of his classy, stylish cricketing performances and his style. Basically, a stylish right-hander player. So I had a really good time interviewing him. But I would say the player, or he's not exactly a player, but the person who has been very inspirational to work with or to write with was DP Singh. Major DP Singh is Devender Pal Singh, India's first blade runner. So he is a Kargil war veteran, and he was in Goa in 2017 with his NGO, the Challenging Ones, and they organized this Swachh ability runs to get the Divyangs to assimilate in the mainstream society. Those who have lost their limbs, or they organize a running race, a running event for them, and these people can overcome their setback or so, and get back into the society with their performances in this such events like this. So I focused write up on him. I put the spotlight on DP Singh ji, and I was really happy to do this, because I thought like there was a lot of big social importance to reportage like this, as people need to get themselves out there and rehabilitated themselves into the society, because it's not if one has lost a limb or something like that, it's not really difficult, it's not really easy for them to feel normal again. But events like this and the NGOs like the Challenging Ones started by Major DP Singh ji is really huge social work that he has been doing, and that write-up brought me a lot of satisfaction. So I'm really happy that I could do my bit for the society. So I would say, like, being a sports journalist, it's not always about trying to put or trying to interview a sports star, a competitive personality all the time. We also must keep our eyes and ears open and look at the broader aspect of the society, of the wellness of the society, the integration of the society, the inclusivity of the society. And in that way, I thought like this particular piece of write-up that I did on DP Singh ji, that has brought me immense satisfaction over my career of 20 years. And in that, I have covered a lot of mainstream sports stars. So yeah, it's been a very special work for me. I consider it special. Yeah.
Absolutely. The smile says it all. Your smile says it all, sir. But
Thank
Neeraj,
you.
sir, as a sports person, when a sports person is doing his work, when he's recommended by anybody or he's recognized by someone, and when his article is there in the print media, his article is known to everybody, he's very happy with the same. But when it's when it was your time, that first time you wrote something about anybody, the article that came into that print media, you saw in your name into it, edited by or written by. What was that moment? How did you feel at that time?
Wow, it was really long back. Yeah, it is an amazing, indescribable feeling, I must say. Like, wow, it feels great to see the byline by Niraj Prabhu. It felt really good. And I must say, my first byline was on an international player, because in 2002, when I came into journalism, and soon after, as I settled into the field and got to individually do exclusive stories, there was a big event. Chess event was being staged in Goa. It was a junior world championship of chess, a FIDE event, and top junior chess players from all over the world had come to Goa. I
Oh,
interviewed perhaps player from Portugal, and that was my first byline. Like, my name was on the write up, at the top of the write up, and I felt really thrilled, and I felt, yes, this is my field. I belong to sports journalism, because the satisfaction I got from that morning was unmatched in my previous career of being an engineer. So yes, it was really absolutely very special to see the byline. Yes.
well, a sub question for this question, please. A sub question over there from my side. As you said, you feel great when you see Niraj Prabhu, penned by Niraj Prabhu something. But this, in this 20 years, has something like this happened to you, that you might have written something else and something other went on to the print media, and it came on to, some different aspect, that you didn't written anything, you didn't write anything about it, but yes, you had to say something else, but something else came out of it, and you were unhappy with that. Did that happen to you some other day? You
No,
penned something.
there was not. No, no, no. Absolutely, there was nothing, and that's the best part of sports. There's no last minute changing or tinkering by the bosses. Sports journalism is one field or one aspect, very important aspect in journalism, that is totally your baby. As a reporter, as a editor, chief editor, you know what the subject is, what you're writing, and absolutely that will appear. There's no changing, as we see maybe in some other beats of journalism that could happen, but no chance of that happening in sports journalism, at least never with me. It has not happened with me.
Absolutely. Supriya ma'am, I want to move on to you. We are talking about ecosystem, and we are trying to, get to know many people who are at the most at the backstage. These people don't come in front. They do their work wholeheartedly, but still at the end of the day, they go unrecognized. But through this world of sports, we bring out those people. Like last week we did with a physiotherapist. Before that, we had some other person. How do you see to it journalism shaping this ecosystem, and how do you see journalism giving a big breakthrough to the players, to the aspiring players?
Yeah. So I think sports journalism has a great influence on sports ecosystem. See, people are very used to these all types of media, maybe print media or maybe social media. And journalists generally covers all issues related to sports, like competitions, events, maybe some health awareness or fitness programs related to sports, maybe sportsman struggle, and then even business, sports business. Now see, equipment industry is growing now because the sports industry is growing. So like decathlon, so we have seen those series of decathlon shops across India, they are growing. So maybe with sports industry growing, other ecosystem factors are also growing. So and this whole system when growing, that the only media which takes it to the end user is sports journalism. So I feel sports journalism plays a very great role, and it influences sports ecosystem at large. To my experience, I feel sports journalism has supported and boosted to build a sports ecosystem very positively, and has great contribution towards sports ecosystem. Only thing I feel in India, we have very few members really dedicated for sports journalism. So maybe way forward, maybe in next 5 years, maybe we will look that how these numbers can change and lot many people can attract towards sports journalism, and that may become your career. So because see what is happening, say if as a sports person has very limited time of span for his performance. Once he retires from his sports career, he has to look for something for his survival. And I think if like Neeraj ji, you can add some light on this
Yes,
subject. So how
absolutely.
the sports person can take this, how they can take this career as coaching or mentoring, or maybe developing and nurturing sports in schools and colleges. So I feel these sports person, if they will pursue sports as a career in different as a different component of sports ecosystem, that will definitely help all of us as a Indians, because India is hugely populated country, and there is lot of talent. There is no any scarcity of talent. Only thing, right guidance is missing. So maybe sports journalism can play that bigger role in future.
Absolutely,
Already
I would like to add.
yes. So please,
As
please,
Supriya
please.
ma'am has mentioned, this is the need of the hour that we increase the number of sports journalists and committed sports journalists in India. Firstly, I would like to attract your attention to the problem that has been caused due to COVID. A lot of sports journalists have lost their jobs because media organizations thought that in COVID there was no chance the sports would make a comeback, and there have been job cuts, including mine. I lost my 12-year-old job in a day almost. There was no prior notice, and it was just on a day. I was like shocked. So this has been a norm in the country. A lot of sports journalists, a lot of entertainment sector journalists have lost their jobs. So that was obvious. So now, what the way forward is, I would like to tell ma'am that corporate sector can do a lot of good work to promote sports journalism, like how corporate sector has provided support to the top talented sports persons of India by making them the brand ambassadors. I think it's time now that a group comes forward and looks for a very experienced and committed, passionate sports journalism to be a brand ambassador as well in that particular corporate group. So once you have that particular sports journalist, then you also have players around who are part of the corporates, and when their careers come towards an end, playing a career comes towards the end, this sports journalist can provide the support to blend a sports journalism angle into these players because they know their game really well. So a person like me or any sports journalist can guide the players to take up the ecosystem role of a sports journalist. This can be done. This is really doable. And I'm glad that you brought this aspect up as to how we can support. Secondly, as part of the corporate commitment to sports, the sports journalist that is backed by a particular group can provide a lot of mileage to the efforts that that particular group is putting into sports by way of writing a lot of articles on how particular player is developed, on how you can get scouting done as well from the sports journalists because they have seen the top players. Their eyes are trained to look for talent. So this sports journalist can do a lot of multiple aspects, multiple tasks as well can be accomplished. So I feel that is the way forward. Otherwise, sports journalists are a waning breed. They are looking for jobs, and they could say like sports bye bye. I'm going to politics because the politicians are going to pay me as well, and we will write for them, and they will be venturing into various other aspects of journalism. So it's a very critical time, and it's about time we did something for the sports journalists. Yeah, right.
Absolutely. So I guess this is the time when the sports person, after ending their career as a sports person, they can move on to this sports journalism, which would give a great view from their aspect. So it is a great point that Supriya ma'am has given to us, as well as Niraj sir has agreed to it. So I guess on this good note, we would end this conversation on the task, saying that there are some more people who would join in as a sports journalist very soon. They would meet Neeraj sir or the other person who would be hailing
Sure.
toward this. And yes, for sure, we would get some more sports personalities getting onto this sports journalism, and we would see more and more aspects. As it is always being said, a tree has more and more branches. It gives you more fruits to just enjoy and taste
Absolutely.
it. So this is what we feel at this moment. Thank you so much, Neeraj sir. Thank you so much, Supriya ma'am.
Thank
It was pleasure having you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you
Yes,
very much.
thank you
And
so
all
much.
the